Happy New Year. Welcome to Empowered Experiences, where life, yes, it's a journey, but everyone has a journey. In this new year, we have all made resolutions and we've decided to do some things in a better way. But I believe knowledge is truly power. The more you know, the better you are. So I basically want to talk to you today. We have our time here. We are going to talk today about human trafficking. And human trafficking is something that we don't talk about in our homes a lot and in our faith-based organizations and what have you. But today we're going to do just that. We want to invade your house today and home, if that is okay. So I have a special guest here with me today by the name of Opal Singleton. She wrote a book called Seduce. This is a good read. Wonderful book, Seduce, by Opal Singleton. Also, she has another book, Societal Shift. Wonderful book. This is a good read. But today we're going to talk with Miss Opal Singleton, and she is my special guest. If we can introduce you at this time. Hello, Opal. How are you today?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Awesome. I met you, and I've been ecstatic in having conversation with you since we met, and being able to go to a symposium that you gave and speaking on human trafficking. I am so informed and empowered, ready to go and help somebody live a better tomorrow. So in this, I want to ask you, what caused you or made you get into human trafficking? What was your push?
Well, originally, I'm retired. I had a career in international marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I started to go to a church that had a mission in Cambodia.
Okay.
I decided I wanted to get involved with that. I had become an artist, and so I began to sell my art and go to Cambodia. In 2010, I live out in Riverside area,
Mm-hmm.
and we began to see human trafficking in Moreno Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And I met the sheriff deputy that started the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. He asked me to join him because I now had experience in human trafficking. And so I've been doing that for about 10 years. I actually report to the Riverside County Sheriff Department
Wow.
Through a Department of Justice grant, and I've trained about 400,000 people about how all of this works.
Wonderful. Well, today, I want to ask you, because I know human trafficking comes in so many different forms and so many different ways. And if I may be blunt to say, we say human trafficking, but and when I came up, the words that they used at that time was prostitution or something of that nature. But we have a millennial group, and we have youth, and we have even some older ones that have had a taste of it. And so I want you to kind of explain to us about human trafficking. Let's talk about it from the social media, our young adults. Yes.
Yeah, actually, human trafficking is the fastest growing crime in America, and California is the #1 state by twice as many as Texas. It is 3 out of 4 cases are our kids. And you refer to prostitution. It is, California has a law that says if you're under 18 and you're in commercial sex,
Mm-hmm.
another word for prostitution,
Mm-hmm.
you are a victim of human trafficking.
Wow.
What is happening, though, is what's driving the forces of this is gangs and social media. 90% of our cases have a gang relationship. However, young people never really understand that they're getting involved in a gang.
Mm-hmm.
Because of social media, they'll meet someone on a dating site. It looks like a boyfriend. They fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
They get that fantasy relationship that I talk about in Seduce,
Yes.
the Grooming of America's Teenagers. We all want what we want. And so you fall in love with this guy, and pretty soon he has you out there doing things you would normally never do.
Right.
And so what is happening there, and what's important for a parent to understand, is this is a grooming process, and the parent isn't arguing with the child, and the parent isn't arguing with the boyfriend. The parent is arguing with the fantasy. When a parent gets in a tug of war with a fantasy, they're going to lose if you don't help them unpack that fantasy.
Yes, let me intervene there. You know, because when you're dealing with our youth in society today, wow, it's like, who doesn't have a cell phone?
Right.
And they tend to, you know, it's like your finger's stuck to that cell phone, even at dinner, it's stuck to the cell phone when you're on your way to school, crossing the street. Everyone has a cell phone, and it's basically, you know, impossible to get that phone to put it down. You know, what about that old time when we used to sit around the table and laugh and talk about things? We don't have that anymore. Even in all of this, what is the youngest age that you have noticed with human trafficking that you're kind of aware of?
Well, those that are being forced into prostitution, the youngest case that I've dealt with personally is 11. But what is happening here that it's important for your audience to understand is there's a social media kind of thing happening called sextortion, sex and extortion. And so our kids go on these various apps, and I'm going to say, just so you know, TikTok is the latest one where pedophiles are really working. And TikTok isn't a bad app, but you'd better understand how it works. Many of our kids will have 500,000 followers or 1 million followers.
How is that?
Yeah, and every one of them can text back to that kid. So the kid's making a 15-second video. A total stranger sends them a text saying, hey, you're really talented, meet me on Instagram, send me more video, I'll get you a contract. The problem with that is they begin to send sexual videos thinking they're going to be discovered. Those sexual videos lead to blackmail. And the term sextortion is sex and extortion. Because of that, this is, in fact, a recent study said that 9,000 kids a day in America are being blackmailed through a naked photo, and 58% of them go out and meet their pedophile to negotiate back that photo.
Wow.
Here's why that's so important. You get a shame-based self-image, and at least 70 to 80% of sex trafficking victims were previously sexually violated.
Wow.
Now we have a whole new generation of 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids who are being shamed and blackmailed. And so the next step is, hey, you might as well do it because, you know, your photo is out there for pornography anyway.
Your selfie.
And so it's really, absolutely. And I ask your kids, you know, I always say, who owns the internet? And they'll tell you Bill Gates or Google or Al Gore, okay? Nobody owns the internet.
Right.
If nobody owns the internet, is it private?
It's open.
They'll all say, no, it's not. No, it's not private. And you ask them, if it's not private, why on earth would you send a naked photo?
That's good.
Have you ever thought about where naked photos go when you hit send? Because our kids think like U.S. citizens, you know, with a right to privacy.
Yes.
But there is nothing private. This is not called the U.S. Web. It's called the World Wide Web.
Okay.
And so our kids get exploited, and then that's how they get lured in.
Wow.
And it's a total epidemic.
Yes. You know, and it's really, it's kind of sad when you look at it, you know, because the internet has become the new way of language, you know, and if you don't know the internet and know how to work technology, you'll be kind of lost and confused, because I know some of the older ones, they're like, oh, I don't have time for this. But I find myself making time, even with family and friends, to get to know these different websites and know what it means, what it is. And a lot of times we see our children, you know, because everybody likes to take a selfie. Everybody is happy about self, you know, and we want to smile. And, you know, I just learned, honestly, how to take a selfie last year. I'm not good at it. But, you know, I have young people that I see that, you know, I go on Facebook, I go on Twitter, I go on Instagram and TikTok now. Wow, what a name. It's catchy.
Yeah, it really is. Well, it's interesting. Several things you've said are so important on this. First of all, I love your idea of, you know, everybody's always got the cell phone. I challenge families, take a night, your phone, their phone, and put it in a box and walk it to the trunk of the car and lock it up so you can't hear it. It will be the longest night of your life, okay? The reason why you're addicted and they're addicted is it isn't just communication. It's called the social media validation feedback loop. we're all looking for somebody to tell us that we're important.
Right.
Remember, all of us, we did the Facebook. Many of us still do, the older ones. And what will happen is we post something and we wait for somebody to go, wow, you look great. Well, our kids are doing that, but they're doing it like in 5-second sound bites. That's the reason why the TikTok videos are only 15 seconds long.
Wow.
They shoot them out and compete, and then they wait for 1 million people to go, hey, baby, you're hot. Except it makes them open to grooming. If your child has, let's say, 500,000 followers, which is not uncommon on something like TikTok, what percentage of them are bad guys? At least 1%.
That is actually true, you know, because everybody likes likes.
Yes.
Everybody likes the love signs and the thumbs up and everything. And we're people that like to be seen, whether we know it or not.
Yes.
You know, that's why whether you put it on the internet or not, even in your phone.
Yes.
Once you've logged into Google or anything, even those pictures that you have in your phone, they say you want to remember this day or you want a history of it. It's like, where did they get that picture from? I forgot all about that picture. And it's because they have access to everything that you own, phone numbers, everything that you, even credit cards. We're not going to go on that subject just yet. But, you know, we take it so lightly of the things that we have to make our life easier, but in the same hand, can we take our families back? Can we have that family time back? Can we have that loving time back? That time of sitting down, have family night, play games, you know, something like that, you know, that keep you busy. You know, in our times, you know, we played a lot. We made up games and things that we can do, and we love to laugh. So, you know, I love your gesture of telling America, let's take our phones away. Let's spend some time with the family. I bet the wives will really love that. Honey, put the phone up. Let's spend more time together. And those are some of the things that we look for, that we want to happen within our families, because life is truly a lesson. We want to learn to go back to the love basis, go back to the times of communication. You know, the worst thing we can have is broken communication. Not to jump the subject, but I do want to talk about our families and what they suffer, you know, when they find out their daughter or their son or someone they love is caught up in human trafficking. Can you kind of touch on that, and even the basis of the father?
Yeah, I really can. Let me back it up a minute first.
Okay.
The reason I wrote Societal Shift is that we are about to go through an extraordinary time in history.
I believe it.
By the end of this year, the entire world will be connected by internet. Think about the power of that for our kids.
Wow.
Now, there's many positive things. It's truly a technology evolution, if you will. And there's many powerful things. You can teach kids to be cyber missionaries and raise money and talk to the kids in Kenya while they dig that well. Or use technology in a way that glorifies God.
Right.
But by the end of the year, many of our kids will have 500,000 followers.
Yes.
So we have that conversation about the difference between the number of likes and the number of followers and your value and self-worth as a person and a cherished child of God.
Yes.
Now let me take it to what you were asking here of when this goes wrong. Because I work with the Riverside County Sheriff, I sit with parents whose kids are missing because they never meant to go missing. They just fell in love with some guy on the internet, and they're going to take an hour or so and meet the guy, and poof, they're gone. Or they will lure the kid into taking a naked photo, inserting some things in their body, showing various kinds of sex act, and all of a sudden that photo has gone out around the world into the dark web, into pedophile rings.
Wow.
So back to your question about families, this is not just the child victim.
Right.
This will destroy the whole family. I especially men. I often will sit with a father, and they suddenly are looking at their 11-year-old daughter that has thousands of photos out there, and they look at her like a fallen woman, or they're grieving the loss of her innocence, and then they get mad at the wife because she bought the phone, or they get mad at the app, or they get mad at the phone company, and they can't sleep, they can't rest, they can't work.
Well, before you go, do you find that a lot of them are in denial at first?
In the beginning, they don't know what to do. Rage is usually the first reaction. Okay. I sit with fathers who'll say, I can feel the heat coming from my feet going all the way to my head. Yes. And that's when they really need another man that can understand where they're at. This is in traumatic tremendous situation for the faith-based community to come in and sit with families and help them heal.
Yes,
And it's going to get even more so because as we put our kids younger and younger on the phone, one of the questions I often get from a parent is, what age should I give a child a phone? And I usually say, have you had the sex talk with them?
Exactly.
And they'll go, no, they're too young for the sex talk. Well, duh. Yes, if they're too young for a sex talk, they're too young for a phone. The minute you put them on the phone, they're going to meet strangers who are going to teach them about sex in a way you may not ever understand. And so how do they get 8, 9-year-old kids to violate? They don't understand what that is.
Right.
But they show them photos of other kids.
Right.
Now let me take this one step farther. This is a little heavy, but I want your audience to understand. Think about what happens to that child when this happens. You know, they fall in love on the internet. Maybe they're 9. This guy's convinced them that they're like, you know, some big rock star. They show them what to do, but photos of other kids. And this kid does it, waiting to hear, oh my gosh, you're beautiful. But instead he turns on them and calls them names and starts to put them down and demand more photos. Look around you. There is nobody in that room with that child.
Truth.
It isn't like some pedophile. You can say, that man was a bad man and he hurt me. You can't. Nobody was in there with them. And parents have to be really sensitive to that, because I believe for most kids, their first sexual encounter now will be a virtual sexual encounter.
True. That's true.
If it's shame-based, and we're putting our kids on there when they're going through puberty, and they're getting that moral identity, if that's a shame-based identity, it will change them for the rest of their lives.
And, you know, that is so true, you know, because curiosity, as they say, kills the cat, but a child's mind is very curious.
Yes.
And they want to be
please.
recognized. They want to understand. They want to be pleasing to mommy and daddy, and also to that one that they're talking to online.
Right.
And some of them do it without knowledge, but sometimes it seems exciting.
Yes.
And those things that are exciting to them becomes addictive, you know. And so once you try to give them another chance, you know, you talk to them about it, and you let them know, if this continues to happen, I'm going to take away your phone. Well, that's where the real challenge starts. You know, when you're trying to get them to understand that this is unhealthy, this is not right, you know, and wanting to get to that person that's on the other end of that phone from luring your child into another place, which is being seduced. You know, my heart goes out to families that are dealing with these issues. But I want to say to the family, don't give up on your child.
Right.
You know, pay attention, stay focused. Watch the behavior changes. Watch how they're responding to their telephone and the telephone calls, and get in and look at what they're looking at. There are apps out there that you can tap into what your child is doing. You know, we want to make sure that we stay connected with our families, stay connected with your sons, stay connected with your daughters. And, you know, one of the things I believe in always telling my family before I leave and when I get home is, I love you. Love is a powerful word that can change anyone's day. You can go through chaos all through your day, but when you get home and hear, I love you, that makes a big difference. I want to take out a moment, and I just want to say a word of prayer to those that are going through, and some that are dealing with a challenging teenager that is going through these things, because, you know, sometimes they'll push you out of that spot, but may God give you wisdom to see what's really going on in their minds and what's going on in their lives, what's going on those cell phones, you know, because they're good for deleting, even in history. So we have to learn these things. So we're going to say a word of prayer. I really want you to be knowledgeable about what's going on. Don't give up. Don't give up. Please don't give up. I know it's hard. I know it's challenging, but don't give up on that child. That child needs you to be in their business. That child needs you to love on them. You don't have to be aggressive and give me that phone, you know, that will push them more away. But if you just get involved, learn what they're dealing with, and show me how to do that, so that way you'll know exactly what they're looking at. I think that is a good thing. We're going to pray, if that's okay.
Sure.
Well, I know it's okay. It's my show, huh? So we can pray. So if we will. Father, we thank you and we give you glory and honor. We thank you for this wonderful, majestic day. I thank you for the families that are hearing this show even today, that you would touch their hearts and minds, and that you would help the family to come back together once again. Even within our nation, God, those that are going through human trafficking, God, those that are going through sextortion, and all these different things that are going on that's connected to it, Father. Even our police, law enforcement that are working towards catching, God, I give them wisdom, and let's expose these things that we can have a healthier tomorrow, a healthier family in the name of Jesus. Touch that father, God, that is so broken. God, let them feel your loving kindness, which is better than life. We love you, Lord, and we adore you for all things. We give you the praise and we give you all honor in Jesus' precious and mighty name. Amen and amen. My heart really just goes out to family.
Yes.
Families are broken. And how can we put them back together? Mm-hmm. One family at a time.
That's right.
So, would you have any closing remarks?
Just mainly that I encourage parents to encourage your kids to be leaders. Mm-hmm. This is an important generation. Mm-hmm. They are the generation that will lead all future generations on how to use technology with respect and responsibility. And teenagers don't want to be violated. They want to be leaders. It's up to us to support them and believe in them and challenge them to be leaders.
That is great. I like how you said that. Everyone wants to be a leader.
Yeah.
But, we have to be taught how to be a leader. We have to be shown the great examples that even when, one thing about a leader is when the going gets tough, we still learn to press forward.
Yes.
And reaching the goals. Set goals for yourself. Set a goal of higher potential for yourself, and challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to meet that goal. I love one thing that Opal has said is, let us be missionaries of the internet. And go in and use it for the good causes and for the good things.
Right.
And to the young people, ignore those little pop-ups that come up that's in your curiosity, because most of the time it's not good for you. So stay within your bounds, stay within your reach, and know what you're supposed to do. Like I said, my heart really goes out to the families, to the mothers, to the fathers, and even it don't just affect the mothers and fathers, but it affects that community.
Yes, it does.
It really, it hurts my heart when I'm laying down or I'm resting and I can hear a helicopter going around because a child is missing. And they're saying what they have on. I think one time it was an elderly lady, and she was walking, and she was what do you call it when you can't remember? Alzheimer. Yeah. And my heart really went out. It's like, let someone that knows her find her before somebody that has a filthy mind and dealing with some form of perversion find her or that child. Because and one thing we didn't really get into, and that's talking about how they use organs of the body to do different type of projects. But I am so grateful and thankful to you, Opal, for coming on the show and for sharing just the tidbits. If you really saw this woman in action, oh my goodness, she had my full attention. I was like a little kid, a pencil and paper, writing down all these notes, and I'm hoping that maybe we can get another day where we can bring out some other parts of human trafficking to make you aware. We're not talking about this to make you afraid, not to make you be in fear, but it's an awareness. Knowledge is power. Once you know about it, then you can do something about it. But if you don't know about it, what can you do? So we want to make sure.
Mention the book if they want to educate themselves.
You want to educate yourself?
Yeah.
This is a good read right here. Seduced by Opal Singleton. I tell you, this is a great read. I started reading and I had to catch myself.
Yeah.
I had to make sure that I didn't overlap my time of reading, because sometimes you ever get caught up in a book and it's like you can't do anything else but read this book and make sure that you have everything that you need. But Seduce, Opal Singleton, this is a very good read. I want to make sure that you see this. And hopefully you can see what I'm talking about by reading it yourself.
You can get those at Million Kids. Should I say?
Oh, and she is the CEO, president of Million Kids.
MILLION, millionkids.org. If you want to buy the book, you go to millionkids.org.
We truly, truly appreciate you tuning in. We thank you for just having a listening ear. Each one teach one. I believe in that expression. I believe in that saying because we want to make sure that we're taught of what's going on with our youth in this day and time. Don't give up. Don't give in because you will win if you persevere. Hold on. Ask for help. Get help. If you're not sure how to handle your child, don't just throw them out to the streets and let them do what they want to do. No, I'm going to love you. I use the expression sometimes and people say, oh, Pastor Georgia, what are you saying? I will love the hell out of you. That means I'm going to hold on to you even when you're kicking and you're fighting because you need someone to hold on to you. You need someone to love you. Awareness is the best thing that you have. Don't run off in these places all by yourself. Don't try to go say you're one place and you're really not there. You know what I mean. and be where you're supposed to be. Get a group of people that will help you to grow as a leader and to go to a higher calling. You are God's best. And I'm telling you, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Stay tuned. We're going to have another, hopefully we can get Opal again. She could talk about some other things because I think people are really helped by this. Thank you so much, Opal, for coming on. We truly, truly appreciate you. I feel loved. I feel that I want to go out and help millions of kids. So we can partner in millionkids.org. Yeah. Check it out. Seduce, that is the book. We truly appreciate it, and we thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it a whole lot.
You guys have a wonderful rest of your year, and I will see you next month. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Get ready for the February 14th, the month of love. Have a good one. God bless.
For as long as I can remember, I've wanted to know. You'd show me, and now I know for sure.